Hi, and welcome to Cosmic Besties. We are your Cosmic Besties, your go to space for all things spiritual and friendship. Today, we are diving into the world of human design. This is not an area that I know very much about, but I love a good personality assessment. So, Kelly is going to take the lead and kind of explain what human design is and how it can help you in your own life.
Thanks, Christy. I am trying to get Christy more into human design as I find it pretty fascinating. And Christy's right. It's kind of like different personality assessments that maybe you took in a psychology class back in the day. However, this blends a combination of astrology. So think of your natal chart that you use when you're reading your horoscope or digging in there, along with the I Ching, which is an ancient Chinese system of wisdom, the chakra system. So those are the energy centers in your body. And we did a past session on that if you want to learn more. Kabbalah, which is a mystical tradition that is based out of Judaism, and then quantum physics. So it's basically like this blueprint of how you as an individual are built to operate in life using your birth date, time, place, and it displays something called a body graph, which is your unique chart. And we could go deep into human design. So today is just going to be the first of a series that we'd like to do for you. So today we're going to talk about the five main energy types, and then we'll get into mentioning a few of the future topics that we'll talk about. But the five main energy types, you can think about these as kind of like the personality classes in like a game or like in an assessment, like the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Each type has its own style and role, and that's what we're going to get into. So the first type is manifester. This is about 9% of people, I believe, if I'm getting that right, if I remember correctly. And you can think of manifestors as like initiators or trailblazers. They get their energy in these giant bursts and then they rest. And they're best at starting things, sparking action. If you're into strength finders, these people are your activators. And their goal or their strategy, as it's called in human design, is to inform others before acting. And something that they can watch out for if you go take your free human design test on one of the many websites is that you should watch out for people resisting you if you don't communicate. So that brings us to type 2, generators. This is me, and I believe also Christy, right?
Yep, I'm also a generator.
Okay, so generators are about 30, 35 or 37%, I think it was, of the souls on Earth right now. And
Mhm.
our role is about being builders and life force energy. So we're meant to create things and inspire action amongst other people. And so our energy is sustainable and powerful when doing what we love. So it's essentially like an untapped resource, or like you can think of it as a gas tank that never goes empty as long as we're doing things that we love. But if we're doing things we don't love, we drain that tank real fast. Um, so the things that we're best at as generators are creating, doing, and mastering, whatever that may be, as long as we love it. And our strategy, which I think we'll tell some stories in a little bit, but I think Christy and I each have stories here. Our strategy is to wait to respond, basically to listen to your gut before acting. And it took me a little while to learn that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm really good about listening to my gut. However, there was always like that push and pull between what my gut was telling me and what like I thought I really wanted. So
Mm-hmm.
those were the times where I definitely kind of strayed from myself and let my ego lead as opposed to letting that kind of like inner wisdom lead me down my path.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll tell some
And it,
stories in just a bit. One of the things that generators need to watch out for is frustration if we're doing the wrong work. That's sort of the warning sign or the little check engine light if we were vehicles. The third type is a manifesting generator. So, kind of a combination of the first two types. And I think that's about a third of the population. Um, and
only a
their
third. I'm
energy,
surprised by that.
I know, right? I thought that too, but
Yeah. Like
Um,
generator makes sense to me that there would be more because you need to like generate the energy and get things done as the workers, but
yeah.
I'm surprised that there are less manifesting gens out there.
So I think it ties back to kind of their role. So their energy is fast and efficient, and they tend to be like expert multitaskers. And these folks are best at moving quickly and doing multiple things. And so, like, you can think of them as like, they're like the bridges, right? So you've got the first group, the manifestors that are that big bursts of energy, and the generators, we have like sustained energy as long as we're doing something that we love. And like
Mhm.
these manifesting generators are like the people popping in to help out the generators and the manifestors. Like if the manifestors have decided they need to rest, or if like we're doing something that we don't love and we're running out of gas, or at least that's
Okay,
how
that
I see
makes
it.
sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense to me
um,
now.
and then their strategy is to wait to respond but then inform. So we'll get into more on strategy in a future episode, but they should watch out for skipping steps or burning out. So that is the downfall of, all of that moving quickly and multitasking. Our fourth type is a projector. This is about 20% of the population. And projectors are guides and advisors. And these folks are not meant to do constant work. They're more about, I would describe it as like seeing how others can work best. And then they're best at managing, guiding, and looking at the patterns. But then,
They're
like,
efficient.
yeah, yeah. However, their strategy, and this is where I think a lot of projector friends of mine have struggled, their strategy is to wait for invitation. And that can be
Mm.
hard for so many people. So, and their watch out sign or their check engine light is bitterness from not being recognized. So that's how they can know that they're working
Oh,
on the wrong stuff.
yeah. That's interesting. That's so Patrick is a projector and he works all the time and then he gets like, cranky. So it
Yeah.
makes sense. I need to like tell him you need a rest.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then last, we have the reflectors, which are about 1% of the population. So, reflectors you can think of as the mirrors of society. Their energy is very, very open and very sensitive to the environment because that's their job. They're meant to reflect back whatever they're experiencing. So, they're best at reflecting the health of the people and also the places around them. And their strategy is to like wait a full lunar cycle before making big decisions.
Oh,
I'm glad I'm not a
really?
reflector because I would die
Yeah.
in that
Oh
situation.
my gosh. Yeah, they really have to be patient.
Yeah,
That's so interesting. I wonder if a lot of reflectors have like autoimmune diseases.
it could be. Yeah, I think like as a reflector, you would have to learn very quickly how to discern like your own energy from the people around you. Like, I think of folks like you and I or our kids where we're highly sensitive and empathic, but I think it's still so totally different than being a reflector where like 100% of your job is basically mirroring back what people think.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
But
Tanner is in here. You're going outside.
I'm
Okay,
going
go play.
outside.
Sorry. He was supposed to be at a movie and then he decided it wasn't for him and so he came home but Patrick's not here. It
No worries, no worries. That is life. That is
was
life.
like you could probably hear him whispering in the background. Like, is there a ghost in Christy's house? No, it's just my son.
It was a little reflector. No.
Yeah. I know. He's a projector. He and Patrick are the two projectors out of the family.
Okay. My whole fam is either generators, manifestors, or manifesting generators. I forget who's
Okay. It's a powerful family.
who. Or one that gets real exhausted real fast if we're focused on the wrong things.
It's true. Yeah. Or you guys have to have like the same hobbies because then you could create such like a beautiful thing, I bet.
Yeah, yeah. If we were all working on the same thing at the same time, it would probably
Yeah.
be really like, it would probably expedite our processes super fast. But
Yeah.
Um, so those are the five main types. And once you know that, that can kind of like set the tone for your continued learning about human design. And there are several other elements. Like I said, this isn't it's easy to learn once you start it, but it's kind of complex at first. So that sounds weird, but I guess it makes sense. All things are difficult before they're easy.
Yeah.
But there are several other things that are important elements to human design. So the second important element is strategy. And I mentioned that earlier. It's just how you're meant to use your energy and make decisions. And each type has a different strategy, like way to respond or inform or whatever. Second, there's an element called authority. So this is like your compass for decision making. And it tells you how to trust your body or your instincts rather than your mind. So there's emotional authority where you would basically wait through emotional waves before deciding. There's sacral authority, which is what mine is, where it's trust your gut, yes or no. There's splenic authority, which is trust your instincts in the moment. And is yours sacral as well, Christy?
Yeah. It's also
Yeah.
sacral.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's an element called profile. And this is like your type's costume or how you show up. It's a mix of how you see yourself, but then also how others see you. And it's made up of two numbers. So you might have a combination like a 4-6 or a 3-5. And each
Mm.
number has a role, like the experimenter, the teacher, the hermit, etc. And you can learn a lot about kind of the role that you're supposed to play in your life based on this. The next element after that is centers, and there are 9 energy centers. And you can think of centers kind of like your chakras. Some of these centers are defined or what we call fixed energy, and then some are undefined, which means that they're open to other people's influence. So, examples of some of the centers might be the head center, which controls like inspiration and pressure to think. The heart center might be focused around like willpower and ego items. And then sacral is all about like life force and gut response.
Oh man,
Um,
those like reflectors probably all have open centers, and I think you have to
yes.
really like be careful with your energetic boundaries. And I would also think like getting to know yourself would be like a journey for you too, because you're just always open to everybody's energy. Like that would be exhausting.
Yeah, and that's why I said I think it's so important for people who are reflectors to like learn how to discern like their own energy from other people's. But if
Yeah.
you've actually if you're a reflector and you've never actually sat down to like feel into your own energy, I imagine it's pretty impossible to actually know like who you are.
Is this mine or is this something else's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And then
Interesting.
the last element that is important in human design are what are called channels and gates. And you can think of channels and gates like the wiring that connects the different centers. So gates are, I describe it as like the gifts or traits, and there are 64 of them. And then channels are the connections between the gates that create consistent energy or talents. And so you're probably thinking, God, this is really complex. Like, why do I want to learn this, Kelly? But I promise
No,
you,
it's
it's super,
so
super fascinating.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think once you kind of master your own human design and spend some time learning about yourself, it all starts to click. It's
Yeah.
similar to like astrology, like when you learn kind of how to work with your own natal chart and
Hmm.
you're like, oh, that makes sense when you have, a certain something in, the fifth house or the sixth house or your north node, you're like, oh, okay. And it's clicking. And I think really when you start to learn more about your human design, you understand how to make better choices in your life based on how you were designed for this particular lifetime. What I
Hmm.
love about it too is it gives you permission to stop forcing yourself to be like other people.
I
You
love
get to
that. Yeah.
operate as you.
Yeah. I think it also, once you know other people's designs as well, there's that idea that, well, if I know that Patrick really needs extra rest, then maybe I don't take it so personally when at the end of the day, he's just wanting to like, veg out and I'm like I found something that I'm really excited about and I want to like talk and tell him all about it. And he just wants to like be quiet for a
Yeah.
few minutes and like, recalibrate himself. So it makes sense because I can say, oh, well, that's just part of his design and that's okay. It has nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with how he's feeling energetically in this moment. So I think that like it's like twofold. You can use it for yourself and really learning and figuring out who you are as a soul in this lifetime, like you said, or
Yeah.
you can also use it to kind of have compassion for other people and to understand your loved ones even more, which I think is that's like a gift that you give to yourself and to them.
I love that. Yeah. So your relationships improve, your communication improves, and actually
Mm-hmm.
probably you're able to like find routines for you and Patrick or your kids that fit better for all of you like once you understand each of your individual types.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Yeah, it's awesome.
So, if I were to just summarize an analogy for you to walk away with today, and then you can deep dive with us more in future episodes, I would say to think of human design with the following analogy. Because I know that there's probably a lot of listeners that aren't as woo woo as us, but there might be listeners out there who like video games. So, if you're playing a video game, think of your type as your character class in the game. Your strategy and authority are like your in game controls. Your profile is like your character's personality. And then your centers, channels, and gates are all of the unique abilities and wiring that make your character be able to do the things it can do.
Oh, I
So,
like that. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it.
well, thanks for listening to me today. And Christy and I are excited to deep dive into each of these, and we'll share stories about our type and each of these different elements in upcoming episodes. So, if this was interesting to you, then come on back for more in our next episode on human design. Thank you.
Bye.